Hey guys, I'm Matt, this is my beard, and welcome to Behind the Beard September edition. Let's jump into it. On this month's episode of Behind the Beard, we'll first and foremost go through a channel update, just give you guys a few things that have happened and are going to happen and some things to look forward to. We'll then go on to a month roundup, so look at the month of September, look at the projects that we're on, just have a bit of a reflect on things and things that I've learned as well. Then we're going to move on to October content, so give you guys a bit of an indication and a bit of an insight as to things that are going to come in October. October's a really exciting month, and you'll see about that in a moment. And then finally, just a quick summary and a few words from me. So, without further ado, let's get on to the update. So, before we go any further into this, regarding the channel, I just want to give you guys a huge shout out and thank you. I've been seeing subscriber count go up, like, in a way that I didn't expect or anticipate. Like, I think as of recording this, I'm on 92 or 93 subscribers, like, as it sits right now. Considering that I started this channel on the 16th of August, and it's currently the 30th of September, like, that's quite a lot of growth in that short period of time. Yes, I've been pumping out the content weekly, and yes, I've been like making a real effort with this. So, you know, there is a little bit of effort from my side of things, but clearly there's something on the other side of the fence as well. And clearly you guys are enjoying this, and you're enjoying, you know, this journey that I'm on, and you're enjoying this channel and the content that I'm putting out there. And I just want to thank you for being with me on this journey, especially in these early stages. I'm really enjoying making the content still. I don't think that's going to change, because I love the process. I love that sort of framework that it's given me as well. So each week I'm trying to complete a project or part complete a project, and I'm also getting a couple of vlogs in there as well, just trying out different bits of content. So I've recently uploaded, for example, an unboxing video. Obviously I'll show that in a minute, but I think overall the channel's kind of coming to a nice place, and it's also been in a weird position of transition as well. Obviously I'll go on to this in a moment, but I went through a rebrand. I changed from my original sort of blue with my original mascot, so to speak, or my original logo. I changed from that to a purpose-made logo and colour swatch and brand sort of thing, and the continuity's there now. It feels like my channel, if that makes sense. So I'm really, really happy about that. I think overall there's things in the background that I'm working on, which again, it'll be interesting to see how that comes to fruition. So, for example, I'm currently in the process of working out a Facebook page. I'm currently in the process of building a Discord, and I'm also planning some TikTok content as well. I do have an Instagram. I'm trying to become a bit more active on there, because one of the great things about me is I'll sit and I'll paint and I'll film the video, and I'll love that part of it. But then when it comes to actually taking a photo of the finished thing and put it on Instagram, I don't necessarily do that as much. So I'm going to be making a much more conceited effort to try and be a bit more active on Instagram. It's not a problem, and it's not going to be a problem, but it just means that I've got to take some nice photos, and I actually enjoy taking photos. I'm a hobby photographer back in the day, so, you know, it's all good. So, outside of that, my back's getting a bit better. I had a bit of an injury earlier on in the month. I had a couple of days off work as well. I really badly pulled both flanks in my back whilst at work, so I've been sort of struggling with the shooting pains that come with that, and all that sort of pain management and all that sort of thing. But I'm getting better. I'm back at work full, like all systems go. We're coming into quite a busy time of year, so I just cracking on really and enjoying that. But outside of that, I'm in good spirits. I'm happy. It's Skyrim season, so for those of you who don't know what that means, it's basically there comes a point in the year where a lot of the old school gamers. When I say old school gamers, I don't mean like N64 and Mega Drive and that sort of era. I mean like the people who came through in like the early noughties into sort of the 2010, 2011 era, that sort of window where technology was progressing. You've got a handful of games that you go back to at certain points in the year. So, for example, Minecraft is like a winter game. Skyrim's like an autumn game. Fallout is like a autumn and winter game. Like spring games and summer games kind of don't really exist. Maybe Pokemon potentially, but like you tend to be out and about and doing stuff during those months. So it's just. But for me, it's coming up Skyrim season, so I think in my downtime I'm going to be jumping on Skyrim and starting a new save on there. And I'll definitely not make the same rogue archer stealth character that I end up always making. Definitely won't do that. But anyway, so now we've got channel updates out of the way. Let us jump into the month review. So let's review September. So I have been busy September, and well, just after the last Behind the Beard up until now, I've been doing quite a lot. I've really done quite a lot. I'm just referring down my list here just because I want to make sure I get everything in. But the first thing is the Malstrain. Really happy with just getting that little gang from the Secundus box done. Obviously, as you guys are already aware, I'm not too keen on the colour scheme, and going forward, I've already got a box of Malstrain and another box of Hive Scum to sort of test some colour palette out on, and just different ways in which I want to paint them, and then I'm going to get a subsequent box of Malstrain and actually put some proper time into making them perfect and have a really strong Malstrain gang. Obviously, the Hermiartis, not Hermatius, Hermiartis, the second son. You got the Alpha, and you got the Coalescence. They also got released for pre-order, fully enough, on Saturday just gone. So they're pre-ordered and they're ready to get shipped and sent to me, and I'm looking forward to getting them when they finally arrive at my door. And those three are going to go into this future Malstrain gang. Obviously, I've got my green and brown Malstrain Gene Stealers, but I'm not going to be doing the Coalescence or Hermiartis or the Alpha in that colourway. I don't think it's going to work. I enjoyed the green, don't get me wrong, but it's a bit too poppy and a bit too green for me, and I think there's some far cooler ways you can apply paint to a Malstrain Gene Stealer to make it look cool. But outside of that, let's move on. The next part is I finished my first tile. I got the last bits and bobs done to that, got all the weathering done. It's currently in my cabinet, looks really cool. It's sat there quite nicely, and I'm now just in the finishing stages of planning my second tile, which I'll be going on to quite soon, so that'll be quite an interesting one. The tile itself looks really good. I mean, it's a tile. I used a single tile, I used a box of column and walls, and I used half a box of the stairs and railings and platforms, I think it's called. Overall, nice little thing. It frames models quite nicely, and I've used it on some very small 1x1 skirmishes. Now, to that effect, I will quickly interject on one specific video that I mentioned that I was going to make, which is the Trazior pattern Sentry gun video. Now, as you can see, I have painted the Trazior pattern Sentry guns. They're done. However, when it comes to the actual games or the test games that I've been trying to have, I simply haven't had the time with my friends. Our schedules have not mixed right at all. So that content is still coming. That video is still coming. I did say 1 or 2 weeks, and it's now 2 or 3 weeks after that. So once I've got those test games out of the way and I get a general feel for how they play and some feedback on that as well, obviously you guys will be getting that video. But that video is kind of just sat there waiting to go. I just need some feedback from some of my friends. Let's move on. Let's move on to Space Marine 2. So September brought out Space Marine 2. I got the edition that allowed you to go on it a couple of days early, and as you guys well know, I had an absolute nightmare. That USB stick just did not work. So the actual process, so using the USB stick correctly formatted in your Xbox to record up to an hour of content, that worked intermittently, and I couldn't guarantee that, because think of it this way: there's no real save element to Space Marine 2, so I can't just go, right, okay, I'm going to save my game here, and then if it all messes up over the next hour, so say for example 37 minutes in, the message comes up, no longer recording, blah blah blah. Well, I can't just restart a video at that point, because that sort of breaks the continuity, it breaks the flow, and it just makes the video a bit more choppy and not very nice. So I've unlisted those 2 Space Marine videos just purely on the basis that I haven't found a solution to record. But to be honest with you, it's kind of past that time now. It's still really, really an exciting game, and whilst unfortunately I did overwrite my previous save, because you can only have one save file of the game on your Xbox, I haven't completed it yet because I've been really busy. I've been doing a bit of overtime at work. I've been making sure that I'm focusing on quality content and all that sort of stuff. But I have been enjoying it. It's been a really, really good video game. It's been a really good game to play. And outside of that, yeah, just a bit of frustration, but it is what it is. I did put quite a bit of time into making those 2 Space Marine 2 videos. I put about 8 or 9 hours of time into the edit side of things, but also into trying to get the bloody thing to work in the first place, and unfortunately I'm not going to get that time back. However, we move on to my cabinet. I got a new cabinet for my room. I don't think you can see it in shot now, but it's just here. Yeah, it's just outside of shot. But I got a new cabinet and I moved my room around a little bit. I wanted a new cabinet for 2 reasons. First and foremost, I had my entire Hive Fleet Behemoth on top of the black Calyx you can see behind me here. So this Calyx from IKEA, it's a 4x4. I had them just literally along the top here, and they were just gathering dust, and I was knocking them off, and it wasn't right. I wasn't doing the models justice, especially considering the hundreds of hours that I've put into those models. So they're now in their new home, in their new cabinet. I've got a nice little Necromunda shelf, and also I've got my tile on the very bottom as well. Oh, I've blown out. 2 seconds, come back. Sorry about that, I blew out a little bit. The white balance went all crazy. So yeah, I've got in the bottom, I've got my tile, and I'll have my second tile in there once that's done in the next weeks and months to come. But overall, it looks really cool, and I like this new setup as well. It gives you guys a little bit of a background too. For those of you wondering, by the way, so this, and there is also 2 over here as well. They're prints from a guy called God Machine. I'm actually wearing one of his t-shirts right now. I've followed this artist for years, absolutely years, and I really, really love his artwork. He just did prints, and he had an Instagram page and all that sort of stuff, and then recently he's actually started working with Wizards, so the guys who do Magic the Gathering. He's done a few of their cards, and he's getting quite big, so he's from the UK, so even better. But anyway, yes, happy with the new cabinet, happy with the new layout, and it just feels a bit more like a usable space as well, so that's really cool. On to something quite cool, branding. So I wanted to do a rebrand, and I wanted something a bit more me, so I did have a little look on Instagram, and I actually found through a conversation on the Some City Radio podcast that I listened to. By the way, if you haven't listened to that podcast, I would highly recommend it. It's really cool. Steve and Chris, who are the two hosts of it, it's kind of like a thematic sort of in-universe, out-universe podcast in which they discuss everything to do with Necromunda. And it's actually, I listen to that every day at work. Like, I've been going through the backlog and like listen to all of the old episodes and all that sort of stuff, and they're really, really cool. But in one of the conversations they were having, they actually mentioned the artist Dead Doll 13. And so I looked at his work and I saw one particular piece and I was like, that's really cool. I love the face split. How about, and then we had a conversation and we, just sort of hashed out a rough idea of what I wanted. He was absolutely game as a badger for it, really on board with the design, and here we are. So I do have my own logo and my own branding sort of thing. It's really cool and I really like it. And to that end, I had just a tester of some stickers printed, and also I had a t-shirt printed as well. Now, I'm not going to show the t-shirt on this because it's literally it's like a test print, but it is a test printed t-shirt. And I was testing like the quality of the actual print itself, and it hasn't landed how I wanted it to. So when I've received the actual t-shirt itself, whilst a lot of time was put into both the front and the back, and there's also like a collar. There's like a little sort of nod in the collar bit here. The quality of the print just I was not happy with it. It looked old and weathered without it even being worn, and so I'm having a little look around online for some good printers, some good small run printing presses for t-shirts, and I've got to do that quite quickly, to be fair, because SumpCon 4 is coming, and we'll move on to that in a moment. But yeah, I'm really happy with the branding. I've got a new intro. You saw at the start of this video and a few of the videos prior to this one as well. Put a little bit of time into a nice little intro for my videos. Really happy with that. It's really cool. Next, the Enforcers. Finished them, mate. Yeah, I got the two Sanctioner Pattern Automata built up and painted, and then also I did paint the rest of my Enforcers that I hadn't painted in the initial run, like 6 or 7 months ago now, when me and my friends got together and said let's try Necromunda. I only painted what I needed and left the rest sort of built and base coated, but I actually hadn't applied paint to the model. I was just going to paint them as I needed them, kind of thing. So for example, if I went to the trading post and could actually get myself a new ganger, then I would obviously paint the guy who I was going to bring in and all that sort of thing. But for the sake of basically clearing out my backlog and clearing out things that I needed to just like little projects that needed to be closed off so I could move on to open up new projects, it made sense to. And altogether, I mean, as you've seen, like they look absolutely amazing, like all in one place, all together, and I'm really proud of them, and it's really, really cool. Which nicely and neatly leads us on to my next gang. So I was in the Some City Radio community page on Facebook. I put a poll out. I asked the guys and the girls and the everything in betweens what gang should I go for next. There was 3 options. There was Vansar, Orlok and Escher. I was personally leaning towards Escher because I've got some Vansar from the Secundus box. And they look really cool, but I don't know, I just think it wasn't anything negative, to be fair. I'm sat here trying to give you as a reason as to why I didn't decide to go with them, but in all fairness, I was happy to go with any of the 3. I just was leaning towards Escher because they're kind of iconic within Necromunda, like the all-female gang, the Yellows and the Mad Mohicans, and like the badasses from the wastes kind of sort of aesthetic. Like, I just thought it would be a bit of fun and quite cool. And thankfully, the community actually thought pretty much the same, because like 48% of the 55 people who voted said go for Escher. So there we go. So I bought the House of Blades book. I got the just the gang pack and an upgrades pack as well, and I have been looking at Mad Donna as well, just for fun, like literally just for fun. It's one of the old Metalcast miniatures, like one of the original ones that came out. There's still a few available on eBay and stuff like that, but I've been looking to potentially get myself a Mad Donna at some point. Who knows? Next was an interesting and massive learning step for me, which was my test models. As some of you may or may not know, I'm moving on to the Dark Angels, and I have a Deathwing squad to paint. To everything, to be honest with you, to build, to base coat, to paint, and get all that process in motion. But before I get to that stage with the actual army, like the actual 1,000 points that I've got, I wanted to do a couple of test models. So I used one of the Terminator I keep on going for that. I don't know why. The Terminator captains. So the Terminator captain from the Combat Patrol magazine. I painted him up with also painting one of the test models up from Games Workshop, and I also had a secondary test model which I used just to check the consistency of my paint for my airbrushing. And obviously, if you've watched that video, you'll see the trials and tribulations I went through to get that first proper test model done. So the actual captain himself, you'll see the trials and tribulations I went through to get to that point. I've reached out to Colourforge, which I'm going to move on to in a moment, but I've reached out to Colourforge because I'd like to get their equivalent of Wraithbone, because I believe they do have a Wraithbone equivalent, but I just want to make sure it's the right one that I'm choosing. Who better to ask than Colourforge themselves? To be honest with you, I'll be absolutely transparent. I have actually reached out to Colourforge just in general, just because I really get behind their brand. I really get behind what they're about, and I really get behind their product. More importantly, their product. So on that note, and I'll come back to this bit in a second, but I actually did receive my Kickstarter signature series Colourforge spray, which was the Siege armor. So Siege Studios are it's a commission painting company in the UK. A guy called James runs it, but they also have a Paint Perspective podcast. It's called the Paint Perspective Podcast. So it's run by their marketing manager George, and their general manager Joe, and then also James is on there as well. So James is like the face of the company, and then you've got Joe and George, who are sort of his left and right hand man, and they just sit and talk about everything to do with painting, and then they talk about certain topics within the hobby, and it's a really, really cool podcast. I got turned on to them last year, about a month after I started back into the hobby. So funnily enough, about a year ago today. Well, not today, but a year ago in September. And I really, really enjoyed their podcast. So I listened to their entire backlog, and then I've been just keeping up to date with them on the monthly. And I actually met the guys down at the UK Game Expo when they were there supporting Colourforge in the release for the Kickstarter for their Siege armor spray, alongside a host of other creators as well, and a few of the other guys jumped down there to support the stand. It was a really cool stand, to be fair. It had a few of the creature caster models, like the full-size creature caster models, painted with, or base coated rather, with some of their new range, and they were also selling obviously just the general tins of paint, and that was really cool. But yes, to go back to reaching out to Colourforge, I've reached out to them for two reasons. One, to just get their advice on what in their range is closest to Wraithbone, but two, I'd like to work with them in some way, shape or form. I would love to go down to their office and to the facility and have a tour. I think bringing you guys, that would be really, really cool. The way that they're doing it, it's community focused, and it's customer focused. It's not commercially focused. So what I mean by that is, you as a consumer, so in this instance, me picking up my tin of spray paint, if I flip it round, it's got very clear instructions as to how to get the best performance out of that spray. But then also what they're doing in their wider brand, they're bringing out, again, consumer focused products to help basically enable its client base to get the most out of their hobby time and get the most out of their hobby. One of the stickers that came in the Kickstarter pack, it literally says #UpYourHobbyGame, and that's a really true and accurate representation of their brand as a whole. Just purely from a business minded standpoint, their whole focus and narrative seems to be making you, the consumer, giving you the tools in which you need to get the best opportunity for success on every model or every project that you endeavour to take on. And that's a brand narrative that I can definitely get behind, because that ensures quality, it ensures consistency, and overall it looks as if they care about us and not so much the coffers. Obviously, they do care about the coffers, because otherwise, why would they be in business? But they actually are going, you know what it is? The community needs this. The community needs that. The community needs to be able to say, okay, this is the same recipe, the same formula of, I don't know, let's go for Steel Forged Silver. It's the same recipe for Steel Forged Silver from the very get-go. We haven't changed it. Therefore, every tin of Steel Forged Silver that we produce, we know that our consumer is going to get the same result when they apply that to the miniature. And that consistency within the brand and that narrative there, absolutely perfect. So yeah, I hope to hear back from Colourforge soon, because that would be a really awesome way to just get more involved with them, So anyway, let's move on. So now we've got the September stuff out of the way. That's quite a lot of stuff. I really enjoyed it. Let's move on to October content. Well, October is literally tomorrow, and I think it's a short month this month. I think it's only a 4-week month, so never mind. Anyway, my October is quite packed. So I have a week off in the middle of October. I've taken a week from work, just sort of to rest myself before going into our busy period. But in that week, at the end of it, so on the Saturday and the Sunday, there is SumpCon 4. So that's Sump City Radio's annual convention, and it's the first time that I'm attending it. I've heard about it in the podcast, so I heard about the first, second, and third one, and I've heard really, really cool things about all three of those. And when I found out that the tickets had just gone available, and the venue is in I can't remember the name of the venue now, but it's down in Belper, which is about a 3.5 hour drive from where I live. 3.5 hours. Just stop at Wetherby on the way down, and it'll be about 3.5. Because it's rude not to stop at Wetherby. Best services. Anyway, SumpCon 4 is coming. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be great to meet some guys from the community, and also Steve and Chris, who are the hosts of Sump City Radio. I think it's one of those weird things whereby when you've heard somebody's voice for so long, because obviously I've been listening to their podcast for the last about a month and a half, 2 months now. When you actually get to meet them in the flesh and have the conversations, and if you've got some burning questions, then ask those questions, that sort of thing. Have a proper chat with them face to face. It breaks that 2-dimensional wall and creates a 3-dimensional person at the end of it, and that's a really cool sort of dynamic for me. I really enjoyed that when I met the guys from Siege, when I met Lizard of Doom, Max. Even when I met Duncan Rhodes as well. When I met Duncan Rhodes, you see Duncan Rhodes, the tutor, the person who tells you and teaches you how to paint stuff, but then you ask him a question that he hasn't been asked before, and he goes, and then he kind of gives you the answer, but in a much more personalised in a specific way, and that again breaks that two-dimensional wall and creates that three-dimensional person, and I love that. So it'll be great to meet Steve and Chris. I'm really looking forward to meeting Steve and Chris and some of the guys in the background before. I actually think that I have spoken to one of the guys in the background of Some City Radio before, whilst I was at UK Games Expo, funnily enough at the Duncan Road stand, because I remember the guy's face, I remember his glasses, and I remember his t-shirt because he was wearing a Some City Radio t-shirt. And I remember him having a conversation with one of the guys on the stand, and then he and I think we complimented each other's beards or something like that. So, like, just a weird interjection here, by the way. When you've got a long beard or a big beard, and you see somebody else with a decent beard, doesn't matter who they are, they could look like the hardest, like, bloody motorbike riding, like, miscreant. Not saying that. I'm not going to say that. Motorbike riders are absolutely cool. I really, really love them. I used to ride a motorbike myself, and I'm looking to buy myself a motorbike in the future. So, but like that, you know, you get what I'm saying. People with a large beard tend not to be approachable, or you, in your mind's eye, you perceive them not to be approachable. But when a guy with a beard sees another guy with a beard, you go, "Hey, dude, that's a cool beard. Like your beard." Like, it's just a thing. So anyway. So SumpCon 4, I'm only going for the Saturday, so it's the 19th, so October 19th I'll be down there. I'll be bringing my Palanite Enforcers. I'm currently in the process of building my list, and I'm probably going to lose quite dramatically, so that'll be a bit of fun for everybody involved. I do have a couple of plans for some videos coming out this month as well in regards to the Malstrain Part 2. So I'm going to actually I'm going to build up the 6, get them base coated, and I'm going to basically test out a couple of different paint schemes using references from some of the old codexes for the Tyranids. So using some Tyranid colour schemes on the actual Malstrain Gene Stealers, see how they land. But then also I've been looking on Facebook and on Reddit and on Instagram at how other people have done their schemes, and there's a few that I've thought, I can make a couple of adaptations and alterations, make them my own, and give that a try. So, as I say, I've got the 6 there ready to build and base coat. I'll then just jump onto a paint scheme for each individual one, give them a try. What's the worst that can happen? And then once I've made my decision as to what's going to happen from there, actually make the Malstrain gang overall. I say gang, it's probably not going to be a rules precise one, but it's just having the models there, and then that allows me to make the hive scum, and then it allows me to move into coalescence and Hermiartis and the alpha, and that's just, it's going to be quite a bit of fun. The Forge World models, so the 3 that have just been released, so Hermiartis, the alpha, and the coalescence, they're in their own separate video, and that's probably not going to be until November now, but that's not a problem. And then finally, well, penultimately, I'm going to be starting a new tile. So I'm going to actually be starting my next Necromunda tile. I've got the box for the Ruined Zone Mortalis columns and walls, and I've also got another columns and walls box, and I've also got a Gang Stronghold box and a handrails and stairs and platforms box. So I'm going to see what I can make, or see what I can mentally design using, you know, those bits and bobs, and move on to my second tile. I was planning on doing my the Warlord's Head, so the pub that I was going to create within the Necromunda universe, but I'm not 100% sure whether I'll be doing that this month or on my third tile. Because I'm kind of currently humming and hawing as to whether I want to add LEDs going forward. Because if I'm going to add LEDs, it adds a whole other dimension of interest and intrigue to the tiles themselves, but also the challenge that brings. So what I mean by that is, I currently don't have a soldering kit. I know how to do basic wirings and schematics and whatnot. Well, I know how to do advanced ones as well, but I haven't got a soldering kit. I haven't got any LEDs or any battery packs. I haven't got any of the equipment to actually do the wiring and all that sort of stuff. And that's an extent, you know, when you get it all at once, that does tend to be a little bit on the expensive side. You know, the LEDs, the wiring and the battery packs and that sort of thing, you're looking at about £20-30, which isn't too bad. But then for a good soldering iron, and one that's precise, because these things are tiny, you know, you're looking at, again, another 20-30 quid on top of that. Then you're looking at the spool of wire that you require. And, you know, you're looking at about a 70 quid endeavour before you even start, or £70 endeavour rather. I'm using my northern lingo there, sorry, with quid. But yeah, £70 endeavour before you even start. So yes, but that's something I'll be thinking about. And then finally is the Escher. So at some point this month, when the winds take me, I'm going to be starting to build up and paint my Escher. Now there's 10 in the box, and I want to put some decent paint on them. I want to put some decent time onto them. And I did get a couple of colours from like just when I bought them. I bought a couple of additional colours to help us sort of build up sort of my paint scheme for them. But I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how I want to paint them. I was genuinely just thinking box art, because it's so iconic with like the yellow tops and like sort of the bluey grey trousers and like the mad sort of 90s vaporwave sort of haircuts and Mohicans and all that sort of stuff. But there's another part of me which thinks, go a different colour for the tops, or go a different colour for this. I was thinking about doing some green stuff work on a couple of them, just to give them a bit more curve and a bit more sort of like a bit more character to the model as well. So like fleshing them out to make them a little bit like chunkier than what they are. Like not all of them, just like a handful of them, just because obviously they are all stick thin and very much the same. And I think it would be pretty cool to kind of give a bit of curve and a bit of sort of more definition and in their size with green stuff. So that would be an interesting sort of conversion to do. And I also have a really, really cool idea for a conversion of a Ambot. Now, I don't think I'll be able to find it. I'll put it on screen now if I can find the guy and his pictures. But there was a guy on the internet who I saw a couple of pictures of an Ambot with a Escher head in place of where the Ambot's face is. And it looks as if it's kind of like, there's like the, you know, that inflatable sort of like armour bit with like the kind of wires and stuff that kind of surround the head. So it looks as if she's actually sat within the Ambot. And I thought that was so cool. That was such a cool like conversion. There was no additional work done outside of the fact that the guys removed its head, popped in a human head, and kind of created the world around her neck, so it looks as if she's in there kind of out operating the Ambot. And I'm really considering doing that as a conversion. That'll be really, really cool. I haven't got that much experience when it comes to conversion work, but I understand the process. I understand like the considerations you've got to make, and I've got the eye for it, so it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. But outside of that, there's one or two other videos that I've got sort of ruminating and bubbling away in my mind, but nothing that I'm going to share in this video because they'll all be a surprise. And that pretty much rounds up my plan for October content. So let's have a bit of a summary and an announcement. Well, what a month it's been, eh? I've really enjoyed everything I've done this month, even the test models for the Dark Angels. I'm going to be honest with you, like, from a mental health standpoint, that really kind of pushed my limit. And I mean, I had to take myself for a walk. I had to make sure I could just clear my head and then come back to the hobby that I love and make sure that I still enjoyed it. And it's not that serious by the sounds of things, but in my mind, I built it up to something a lot worse than what it was. And overall, I was, you know, I'm really happy with how the month's gone and the things that I've taken from that and the things that I've learned on this journey. I don't profess to be a professional painter, nor do I profess to be a a Golden Demon winning artist in any way, shape or form. I'm not. I'm a hobbyist. I'm a bad painter, an okay painter at best. I understand the process and I understand certain elements of the theory, but when it comes to the application, I still have a lot to go. And I still have a lot to learn, and I would love to learn more. I'm planning next year to do a couple of workshops, so a couple of planned workshops with a few people and businesses and commission painters that I'm aware of, and they offer these services. And there's one particular one that if I can get to, he doesn't live in this country, he lives in a different country, but if I can book that and have that to look forward to and work towards, that would be really cool. It'll be a bit of an expensive one, but having that one-on-one opportunity with him, if I can make it work and if it can happen, I would love that. So there we go. But anyway, on to an announcement. So I've been mentioning in a number of videos in a number of different ways about my High Fleet Behemoth video, and I would like to say with pride and with chest that I have started filming. So I've got the plan, I've got the narrative, I've got the feel and the way in which I want the information I deliver to be received, and I've started filming it. It's a passion project, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm doing that specific video whilst it showcases my High Fleet Behemoth, and so it shows you guys what it's all about. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen a few of them already. But I think for me, it's more a chronicling of my entry into Warhammer, and I'm really looking forward to telling that story, because as is everybody's got their weird little stories to how they came in, and mine is quite nice and filled with nostalgia and filled with like really fond memories, like really nice memories, like family memories. So I think, I'm looking forward to continue filming and delivering that story and showing you guys the models. I look at them every day. I got a cabinet specifically to hold them. You know what I mean? So it's just it's one of those things. But yes, that's the announcement. I'm finally starting the High Fleet Behemoth video, and that'll be out at the end of November. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I really enjoyed painting them, and I got them to the standard that they're at now, and it's just going to be a bit of fun. But anyway, before I go, I do want to make mention of 3 things. First things first, I am on Instagram, and I have been on Instagram longer than I've been on YouTube. And if you'd like to drop me a follow on Instagram, I've got my Linktree in the description of this video. It has the links to my Instagram, my TikTok, and also my YouTube, because it's a Linktree, and so you add everything in there. There's currently nothing on my TikTok, but I'm in the background. I didn't put it in my October plan because it's something that I class it as like an admin thing in the background. I'm planning TikTok videos, and I'm going to be posting them because TikTok's a really powerful platform, and if I can understand the short content there, then I can use the same content on YouTube for my shorts, and then it's just more things that I can give to the world, and that'll be a bit of fun. But if you'd like to drop me a follow on Instagram, that would be that would be appreciated. I'm going to be putting more content on my Instagram. I kind of put it on the back burner whilst I was focused on my YouTube. But one of the things that I'm adding to my overall creation process is at the end a little photo shoot. That's just to capture the miniatures in a photo, which I can then post on my socials, take it from there. I am also building out a Facebook page, and I'm also building out a Discord at the moment, both of which are not available just yet, but when they are, I'll let you guys know and obviously share where that is, and so you guys can join me in those communities too. But outside of that, if you've liked this video and you've liked the videos prior, please drop me a like. If you're new around here and this is the first time you've heard this big beardy guy waffle on about stuff that you haven't seen, then please feel free to subscribe, and if you haven't subscribed already, that'd be great. And finally, just on the way of comments, what would you like to see? I do have I've got loads of ideas, and they've got loads of ideas for projects and stuff. And obviously, I'm going to be working on test models for my my Dark Angels. I have reconsidered going back into a different hive fleet because I really enjoyed doing Tyranids. Obviously, I have to do a lot of focus content on Necromunda. But if there's anything else that you'd like to see, any other models that you'd like to see me paint, if you want to set me a challenge, drop a comment and I'll see what I can do. But outside of that, I've been Matt. This has been Behind the Beard, September edition, and have a good day. See you later.